The Spurs defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 117-102 on Christmas Day. And I have to say, God damn it. I'm from North Carolina, I just had to say it like that because I'm just like shocked as a Spurs fan, just ecstatic, about this that I can't believe the Spurs have now beaten OKC three times this year. Like it's absurd. Like I never expected going into the season the Spurs to be as good as they are. My hope would have been like they were going to be contending for the playoffs somewhere 5 through 8. I thought in the West if they were healthy that they were going to get one of those spots. That was really the goal. I didn't expect them to be an elite team this quickly. This first year with their whole entire team together with Fox, Victor being able to play a full season together. I didn't expect all that stuff, and it's happening so fast. Granted, as a Spurs fan, I feel like I've been spoiled in the sense I got to see 5 championships, so I can handle them being this good because I experienced it before. But I thought to get back to the level they once were during the Duncan era, it was just going to be very, very hard and very difficult, and it has been I would say the last 8 years or so, ever since Kawhi went nuts in the fall of 2017 and it destroyed the Spurs. And ever since then, it's been just like this hard climb to get back to relevancy. It's been just very difficult. And it didn't seem like they were going to get back anytime soon. Obviously, getting lucky a few years ago with getting Victor definitely jump started the franchise to getting back to what it once was, and then getting lucky the last few years in the draft, getting Stephon Castle, now getting Dylan Harper, also getting lucky with the Fox trade. A lot of stuff had to happen to get it right for them to get back to this level and just being an elite team again, and even being a championship contender. Like to me, it's just shocking. Like I didn't expect them to be this good so far. Granted, there's a lot of regular season left to be played, but it's just amazing. Like they're playing great basketball again, and they're moving the ball around. The defense is great, and I've seen championship basketball before, so I know what it looks like. And I'm just surprised. It's like starting to feel like the old Spurs again. The Spurs I knew during the Duncan era that played team basketball, moved around, was selfless, and was just great defensively. It's like it's all coming back. Granted, they're not the same as the Duncan era Spurs. Every team has a different identity, but it's just like wow, they have the ingredients for success, and I felt they've shown it in all 3 games against the Thunder this year. The Thunder are the gold standard of the league right now because they are the defending champions. And until proven otherwise, they are the team to beat. Even with them losing these 3 games to the Spurs, they're the team everybody's gunning for. So I'll definitely say that. But they have been great against the Thunder. It's like insane. Like I've said it in my two other videos when it comes to this matchup because I watched all 3 games. But it seems like the same things keep happening again and again to bother the Thunder when they're playing the Spurs. That the Spurs have 3 elite ball handlers in De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper. That just causes a lot of problems for them because defensively, it's they can't really slow up these guys like they do to other teams because most teams don't even have one elite ball handler, but the Spurs have 3. So it kind of renders OKC's defense in a lot of situations as being just like useless because they can't force the turnovers easily like they do because OKC they rely heavily in forcing a ton of turnovers to generate their offense. But with the Spurs, they're not able to do that. Granted, in this game, OKC was great with the ball. They only had 7 turnovers while the Spurs had 12. But 12 is a very small amount of turnovers for any team. If you have 12 turnovers in an NBA game, you usually win the game. Granted, OKC had even less, but it didn't matter. But I think that shows you like it's very hard for OKC to score against the Spurs because they can't force enough turnovers to get easy baskets. And because of that, the Spurs can force them into a half court game where they had to work hard to get their points. And then you have Victor there. And I've said this so many times, he's like the human eraser. Like that guy is like an eraser on defense. And it just makes it so difficult to get easy points in the half court with him being there. And the Spurs have these athletic guys on the perimeter that can swarm you in Castle, Fox, Vassell, and even just the guys off the bench like Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, Shapini, all those guys, they can really bother you, swarm you, and it's exhausting having to deal with them in the half court when you're trying to score on them. And I think that causes issues. It frustrates OKC, and it definitely did in this game because OKC shot horrible in this game, 39% overall from the field. 25% from three. They had shot poorly before against the Spurs when they played them in Vegas. I think both teams shot 41% in that game. The last game, surprisingly, both teams shot high percentages. But this game, OKC was poor when it came to shooting, while the Spurs were great, shooting 54% overall from the field. So the Spurs were really just able to fluster them. And like I said in my other two videos, one of the trends I noticed in the previous two games was that Jalen Williams and Chet are horrible against the Spurs, that they've had shit games against them. And I felt that trend continued for the most part today. Jalen Williams was garbage against the Spurs. He shot 5 of 13, which is only 38% from the field, and he had 12 points. He really was not good enough today. Like, I think for them to beat the Spurs, not only do they need SGA to play great, but they need either Jalen or Chet to have a game where they're getting 20 points on like high efficiency. And they just weren't able to meet that mark today. Again, Jalen Williams had just another bad game. Chet had a solid game. I'll give him that. 10 points, 12 rebounds, 5 and 9 shooting, but it still wasn't enough. He has to do so much more, but with Victor on the court, it's like he's negated. So both Chet and Jalen Williams are just negated to being role players when they play the Spurs. And because of Victor and the swarming defense, it just takes them out of it. So I think that's the biggest issue. Like, they have to find a way for one of them to be stars in the game. And today, SGA also had a terrible game, which compounded it for them because the previous two games, SGA actually played great against the Spurs, where he's averaging like over 30 points and way above 50% shooting. But today, he just came down to earth. He shot only 7 of 19 from the field, which is 36% from the field, 1 of 6 from three. The Spurs really frustrated him today, I would say. Granted, he didn't have no turnovers, one of the few positives for SGA, but I think Stephon Castle outplayed him today. Granted, Castle only had 19 points, but it was on 8-11 shooting, and he just went to work when it came to scoring in the paint and getting easy buckets that I felt like he canceled out SGA today, and that just led to everything going downhill for the Thunder. And Victor was, great off the bench, 19 points, while De'Aaron Fox had 29. But when you go back to Victor, I've noticed in these last few games against OKC, he hasn't really gotten any blocks. Last game, 0 blocks. This game, 1 block. I think when they played in Vegas, he only had 2 blocks. But the fact I've noticed on him on the defensive end, that he intimidates them so much that they're just scared. They're scared to go to the basket, so he's not really getting that many opportunities to block them, which is good. I do miss Victor having these explosive block parties, but he's definitely going to get there again against some other team. I just see him gain like 10 or 12 blocks. Like, it's going to happen eventually. But in games where he doesn't have many, that's usually a sign to me that the opposing team is just scared, and they've just given up. They have given up psychologically and just scoring the paint with him there. And they've conceded that, where they're just going to just shoot jump shots, and that's it. That's what it really shows to me. So he had a huge effect on them in this game and even in the previous games. But going back to De'Aaron Fox, he was fantastic in this game, 29 points, 12 of 19 shooting from the field. I know that's well above 60%. Let me see what it was. I'm just going to calculate that right now. Yeah, he shot 63% overall from the field on 29 points. When a guy shoots that well, it's like 99% of the time you're not going to lose. And that was the case of the Spurs today. Fox was amazing. He pushed the pace, and they just really couldn't handle him when he would push the tempo. And even the half court against them, he was great at getting to the basket and finishing. getting easy points. He was just amazing today. Fox showing today like why his $200 million contract was worth it. It's for games like this for him to take over, and he did. He gave the Spurs a much needed boost. So, credit to him. And Dylan Harper also had a good game off the bench with Victor. He actually had a much better shooting game than the previous game where he only took 3 shots. Granted, he made 2 of them, but in this game, 12 points, 5 of 8 shooting from the field, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 3 rebounds, and he created problems for OKC off the bench because, again, just having that extra elite ball handler off the bench, it just causes them problems. So I was overall happy with the Spurs in this game, and I don't want to get too high off of this game because there's still a lot of the regular season to play, and different teams match up differently with the Spurs. For example, I felt the Knicks cost them problems in that cup game due to just having big bodies to frustrate Victor with Mitch and Cat. Physically, they could just rough him up. So every game is different. Every matchup is different. I would say right now, it definitely seems like the Spurs are a matchup problem for OKC. Granted, it's only the regular season, but this might turn into something where the Spurs can be a thorn for OKC, much like how the Sonics were a thorn for like the Houston Rockets during the 90s. Well, that's one thing I remember during the regular season, the playoffs, the Sonics always owned the Rockets for the most part. They beat them in 93, and then the Rockets won back-to-back championships during that span in 94 and 95, but during a regular season, they were still trash against the Sonics and lucked out by not playing them in the playoffs. And then in 96, they had to face them in the playoffs and they got swept despite being defending champions. So that shows you how certain matchups can really be a problem for even championship teams. And I think the Spurs could be that horrible matchup. It's kind of like rocks, paper, scissor in the West, depending on who you match up with the playoffs, because I think, for example, the Thunder might be actually a harder team for the Spurs to deal with versus OKC due to the way they're built, with Jokic being a dominant center that can cause problems for Victor, and just Aaron Gordon being another big body that could rough him up, and just the way they're set up. I think they might be a tougher matchup. So you never know. Like, for example, Spurs could possibly lose to them in the playoffs before even getting a chance to face OKC. So it really depends on the brackets. And I think if you're OKC, you kind of hope in that sense, the bracket wise, that you can avoid the Spurs or some team can take them out. And on a side note, the final thing I want to say about this game is I had to say, fuck Lou Dort. He's a dirty piece of shit. There was this one play where he was trying to take out Victor's legs, like literally injure him. There's some clips people have posted on that where he could have taken him out, getting him to like tear his knee, and just, it was a very heinous act. Luckily, Victor didn't get hurt when he fell, but it was pretty dirty. Like, I do not respect him. Like, that was very malicious. It's one thing to throw a cheap shot, like an elbow in someone's face. Fine. It's not right. It's malicious, but it's not to a point of being heinous where you can actually injure someone or ruin someone's season. And that's why I don't respect him. Like, I've seen him do like malicious stuff before. He's like a low-key, dirty player, and I do think he should get suspended for that. I think you guys send a message because a lot of teams are going to get desperate, like what Lou did when they faced Victor, that they're going to try to injure him because they can't win against him. So that's the only thing I have to say about this game.